I want you to see what can happen when you get steadfast, made up in your mind that God is going to use you. I feel that this prophetic conference was sent because there are people here that God has prophesied over you. God has spoken over you, things to come for your life in your mother's womb. And many times, because we don't see the full fulfillment of what God has already told us would happen, we become discouraged. Now, the word discouraged actually means what? Discourage. It's taken away your courage. You know what courage is? Faith. And I said, and so many times when our faith becomes to be a little bit less than what it ought to be, God has to send a total stranger into town to turn it upside down, to let you know that God is still in control, God is on the throne, and God will surely bring it to pass. Everyone say a double portion tonight over my life, over my hands. So we see that Elijah was trying to kind of shoo Elisha away. Now Elijah already knew in the spirit that Elisha had a call upon his life. But you see, sometimes God has to take a prophet to show you and to mold you and to make you see exactly what you can do. Come on. If somebody was truly a prophet of God and they only came around you to tell you what you wanted to hear and not what you needed to hear, then it's not a gift from God. Because true prophets don't really want to even say what they have to say many times. Read the book of Jonah, you'll find out. He said, Lord, I'm not going into Nineveh. Those people are going to come after me. I'm not telling them what you're telling me. And the Lord said, go on, Jonah. Get in the boat. In fact, it even said that Jonah bought a ticket and got on a boat. There's some of you tonight that you're online waiting for a ticket because you're running from the call of God on your life. And I'm telling you, you better not get on that boat. Because God's going to use you whether you want to or not. Many are called and few are chosen. And when you're chosen, there's things that you're going to go through, going to have to do whether or not you want to. Now you know why I preach in hotels and tents all around the place. Because I'm not going to deal with politics with people and preachers who are going to sit there and try to tell God what to do. When Jesus went to the man who laid by the pool of Bethesda, he walked up to him and he said to this gentleman, he said, Sir, what do you need? Now, in the natural, anybody could know. You didn't have to have a prophetic gift to know. You didn't have to be even the Son of God to know that this man could not walk. So why was it that Jesus asked him, what do you need? Because many times, God has to ask you a question in order for you to give him the answer. You already know the answer. And many times he has to say, what do you need? In order for you to speak it out, and in order for you to get out of your own way, in order for God to bless you. Watch this. He speaks, he says, what do you need? And the man was laying there and he said, 38 years I've been laying here, I can't walk. Nobody's going to help me. Nobody will let me in, God. Nobody wants me. Nobody wants to see me blessed. Nobody. Oh, I'm preaching to somebody here tonight. This is going to be called the nobody but Jesus message. Nobody but Jesus. Watch this. Don't get me started because I'll sing till the cows come home. I got to preach. I preach and sing at the same time. I want to show you this. He said, nobody will let me into this water. They always keep going ahead of me. They keep getting in my way. God, have you ever felt like that? Let's be honest. And you see, that's why I can tell you tonight, the reason why the devil doesn't want you to give birth to your blessing is because he knows in that blessing, there's destruction against his kingdom. There's destruction against his kingdom. You see, he sees that you're going to train up young men and women of God. He sees that you're going to go in and be a blessing and a strength to a brother or a sister in the Lord, and you're going to enable them to be destroyers of the things of the devil that he would try to bring against this world. How many know that there have been times in your life that the enemy has come in like a roaring lion, and had it not been for a brother or a sister in the Lord who began to pray with you and for you, you could not have prevailed against the gates of hell. You see, the devil tries to cause those gates to come on you, but how many know that he ain't got no power? Because when Jesus died and rose again, he went down into that pit, and it said, and he took back the keys of death, hell, and the grave. Get your keys back. This is Money Monday, and there are people in this room right now, and I can't get away from this. God said there are people, God is going to cause your finances to flourish, and you're going to get a home that you did not think you would ever be living in, saith the Lord. I know what God is showing me. I see angels of the Lord that are standing in our midst even now, and they're dressed in silver and gold. And the Lord said that the silver and gold anointing that's here right now is going to cause your finances to grow, saith the Lord. I was in a crusade and I began to prophesy. I kept saying, it's so strange. I said, I see a house, but it's completely empty, not an ounce of furniture in it. But I see pictures on a wall. And I walked up to a woman and I said, you have pictures in your pocketbook that you've been cutting out of the furniture that you want. And she went, how do you know that? I said, because God knows it. He's just repeating it through me to you to let you know he knows what the desires of your heart are. How many know that sometimes you got to envision the blessing? And how many know that if you're seeing a blessing, that means that there's no more stressing? It means that God can open up that door, that God can cause you. Broke people cannot help broke people. That's why God's got to raise up some millionaires. God's got to raise up some people who are healthy, wealthy, according to 3 John 1 and 2, that you may prosper and be in health even as your soul prospers. You've been broke long enough. You've been broke long enough. You've been broke long enough. It's time that when you lay down at night that you're not fretting and worrying about your tomorrow, that you go to bed in peace and you say, Lord, I know that you can't do anything but fail. Lord, you're going to supply. Let me tell you something. God can cause the rain to come down from the sky, that he can put money in your car, in your gas tank. Money is coming to this room. I already saw what God is going to do, and I saw it the minute I walked in here tonight. I felt it, but now it's happening. It's being released even now. It's being released right now. We were in Orlando, Florida, and we were in a crusade in a tent, and everyone there had not a dollar or a dime. Everyone had lost their jobs. People were losing their homes. And people had told me, they said, what are you doing in this part of town? Because there's drug addicts everywhere. There's people all over this place, and it's a dangerous area. And I said, Jesus said, go on the highways and byways. He didn't say go where you can be fancy. He said, go to the highways and byways. While we were in that crusade, during that anointing, we were worshiping God, and the Lord showed me through the pitch black night that was outside the tent, that he said, Dayna, there's a man and he's crouching down behind the car and he's watching you. I saw him. And I stopped the service and I said, there is a man, I go, who is running from a call of God. And I said, sir, get in here. And everyone's looking at me like, what are you talking about? I said, get in here. I know you're out there. You're hiding behind the car. I see you in the spirit. And the man started walking in toward me, and in the natural, I said, I've got to be out of my mind. I just called a gang member into my tent that looks like he's going to kill me. He started walking toward me, and he was mad. And I said, oh my God, he's probably got a gun. That's all I kept thinking. And he started walking closer and closer. And the closer he got and the meaner he looked, God said, stand your ground and don't you flinch. Stand your ground. Because I didn't see the natural man, I saw the spirit that was oppressing him, causing him to stress out and freak out and want to kill himself. That's what I saw. And the Lord said, it's a demonic spirit, stand against it. So I stood my ground and I said, oh, man of God. And he went. And the Lord said, say it again. I said, he don't look like no man of God. He looks like he's going to kill me. And the Lord said, call him what I told you to call him. And then once again I said, oh, man of God. And the more I kept saying it, the more he started crouching down and started falling down on the floor. And the Lord said, say it one more time. And I said, oh, man of God. And when I finished saying that, there was a woman who stood up in the back of the tent. She said, hey, what's my pastor doing in here? I said, your pastor? She said, we've been wondering where he's been. He'd been on drugs, took off, got rid of his church, got rid of his congregation. He went out and he said he had been doing crack cocaine and all kinds of drugs, and he did not want to serve God anymore, and he was going to kill himself. He said, but I was walking down the street. He said, and I looked over down the street. He goes, and I saw the lights coming from your tent. And he said, and I heard a shout of praise and songs being sung. And he said, Lord, one more time before I kill myself, I just want to feel what I used to feel. That night, that young man stood to his feet, raised his hands, rededicated his life. He came, emptied all his pockets of all his drugs and laid at that altar, and God delivered him, set him free, and set him back on fire. I'm telling you tonight, there are people that God's going to set you back on fire. You've been discouraged, you've been depressed because of people talking about you. You've been lied on, cheated, talked about, mistreated, rebuked, scorned, talked about sure as the morning. You've been up, you've been down, you've been level.